Hello everyone. Now in today's session we will discuss some questions on chemical bonding. See, this is the one. Lattice energy of an ionic compound depends on what are the factors? These are the options given, right? Now lattice energy means what's the mathematical relation for lattice energy? Lattice energy is directly proportional to product of magnitude of charges on ions, product of magnitude of charge on cation as well as anion, and inversely proportional to sum of radii of cation and anion. So immediately we have to go to this relation for lattice energy. Lattice energy of an ionic compound is directly proportional to product of magnitude of charges on cation and anion, and inversely proportional to sum of their radii, radius of cation plus radius of anion. And among charges, product and radius addition, first preference must be given to product of charges. Next preference must be given to radius. That is another hint you have to remember. Now look at the options. Charge on the ion and size of the ion. Charge on the ion and size of the ion. This may be the answer. So as per the options we have to see. This is one of the suitable answers. Packing of the ions only no. Size of the ions only no. And not charge on the ion only. So answer is charge on the ion and size of the ion. Right. So this is how we have to predict the answer using the relation, right? Let us see another question from chemical bonding, right? So this is our next question. Among the following, which compound will show the highest lattice energy? Just now we discussed the lattice energy relation, right? Lattice energy is directly proportional to product of magnitude of charges and inversely proportional to sum of radii of cation and anion, isn't it? So just follow the same relation. Now we have same anion here, fluorine, fluorine, fluorine and fluorine. Fluoride anion is same. The cation is the one that differs. This is potassium, this is sodium, cesium and rubidium. So luckily these four metal cations belongs to same group. Which group? Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium. Francium anyhow radioactive, its chemical compounds won't be studied, right? So this is how the size of the cation varies from alkali metals. Now according to lattice energy, more the charge, more is the lattice energy, and less the size, more is the lattice energy. As charge is same, we cannot compare. Then we have to compare their size. Among cesium, rubidium, potassium and sodium, which is smaller? Sodium is smaller. So smaller the size, more is the lattice energy. Anion, there is nothing to compare. Cation only is the deciding factor. Smaller the size, more is the lattice energy. Smaller the size, more is the lattice energy. So the compound with highest lattice energy is sodium fluoride among these four. Right? Like this, we will discuss one more question after this. Right? This is our next question. See, among the given compounds, lithium chloride, rubidium chloride, beryllium chloride and magnesium chloride, the compounds with greatest and least ionic character respectively are greatest ionic character. That's the point we have to notice first. Actually, this is a question based on Fazan's rules. Fazan's rules we have studied. See, according to Fazan's rules, see in brief I am giving you larger cation. According to Fazan's rules, you can answer it like larger cation or smaller anion or both gives more ionic character. Larger cation or smaller anion or both gives more ionic character or both. Second one is smaller cation or larger anion or both gives more covalent character. More covalent character. Understood? See, based on this, and a few more points are there in Fazan's rules. With increase in positive charge, size of cation decreases, and with increase in negative charge, size of anion increases. With increase in negative charge, size of anion increases. Obviously, with respect to charge also, you can assess which is larger, which is smaller. So these are the points we have to recap while answering this question. See, We are given with lithium, rubidium, beryllium, magnesium. Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. And obviously beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium and barium. This is how you know that down the group size varies. Size increases, right? Size increases, and from left to right size decreases. Down the group size is increasing. Left to right across a period size is decreasing. Now you see we are given with which metals? Lithium, rubidium. Lithium, we are given with the metals like lithium and rubidium, and then beryllium and magnesium. Beryllium and magnesium. Beryllium and magnesium. Now among these ions, which is larger in size? Which cation is larger? Larger cation or smaller anion or both? Larger cation or smaller anion or both means more ionic. Which cation is larger among lithium, beryllium, magnesium and rubidium? Rubidium is the larger cation. So larger the cation, more is the ionic character. So rubidium, greatest ionic character. Greatest ionic character means rubidium should be there. So rubidium and rubidium. Answer should be either B or D. Next, among beryllium and magnesium, least ionic character is among beryllium chloride and magnesium chloride, least ionic character. Least ionic character means cation should be smaller. Smaller the cation, more is the covalent character, means ionic character decreases. So among beryllium and magnesium, as this is the smaller cation, and for the answer for the given question is rubidium chloride is the greatest ionic character and beryllium chloride is with the least ionic character. Understood? So we'll continue with another question. Yes, this is our next question. So the question is, which one of the following pairs of molecules will have permanent dipole moment? Will have permanent dipole moment, means dipole moment should not be zero. It has a dipole moment, means it should not be zero, right? NO2 is angular in structure. See, this is what the structure NO2, and with an unpaired electron. That's why it is reddish brown in color. This is a dative bond formed using its lone pair, right? You might have studied this in 15th group. This is angular, and net dipole moment, vector sum of bond moments is not zero. So they are not in cancelling directions, right? In vectors you have studied. When it comes to carbon dioxide, which has a linear structure, the bond moments, vector sum of these two bonds is cancelling one another. See, they are in opposite direction, their magnitude will get cancelled. So here dipole moment is zero, here dipole moment is not zero. What's the question is about? Which of the following pairs of molecules will have permanent dipole moment for both? Both should be non-zero, but here one is zero. So this is not the answer. This is not our answer. Now let's come to second option. NO2, option B. NO2 is again angular. Vector sum is not getting cancelled. So it is not zero. It is a polar molecule. It has a permanent dipole moment. Whereas ozone, O double bond O and D2 bond O. It is also vector sum is not getting cancelled. So dipole moment is not zero. This is also a permanent polar molecule. So second option has both permanent polar molecules, permanent dipole moment molecules. This might be the answer. Okay, immediately. So once we got the answer, students will go to the next question. No, we have to see the remaining options also without fail. Okay, right? In option C, what's given? Silicon tetrafluoride, SiF4, and carbon dioxide. Silicon tetrafluoride is a tetrahedral in structure like this. SiCl4, right? So you have to find the hybridization. We have a shortcut for finding hybridization, right? Hybridization can be known with bond pairs and lone pairs. What are they? Valence electrons plus number of monovalent atoms minus cation charge plus anion charge by 2. Silicon valence electrons are, how many valence electrons it has? 4. Plus number of monovalent atoms are 4. It's not a cation, not an anion, by 2 it is 4. H value is 4 means it stands for sp3 hybridization. And lone pairs can be calculated as H minus atomicity minus 1. What is H value? 4. Atomicity is 1 silicon plus 4 fluorines. 5 minus 1. 4 minus 4. 0 lone pairs. sp3 with 0 lone pairs. sp3 with 0 lone pairs. That is tetrahedral structure. So SiF4 is tetrahedral. SiF4 is tetrahedral where the bond moments are cancelling one another. See, vector sum of these bond moments is 0. So it is a zero dipole moment molecule, and carbon dioxide is anyhow linear, zero dipole moment molecule. So in this option, both the molecules are with zero dipole moment, but we need permanent dipole moment for both. So this is not at all the answer. And when it comes to option D, fourth option is silicon tetrafluoride, which has a zero dipole moment, just now we discussed, and nitrogen dioxide. It is angular molecule. It has a dipole moment. It is non-zero. Then for the given question, answer is both should have dipole moment, permanent dipole moment, which is suitable for the second option. Both should have permanent dipole moment. Both should be polar molecules, right? This is one question from dipole moment. So let us discuss the next question. Right? This is our next question on dipole moment. The molecule which has zero dipole moment is. This is the question given. Zero dipole moment means zero dipole moment is shown by symmetric molecules. Zero dipole moment is shown by symmetric molecules. What's meant by symmetric molecule? Immediately we have to go to that point. What's meant by symmetric molecule? Molecule which has molecule in which vector sum of bond moments is 0. Molecules in which vector sum of bond moments is 0. So the bond moment should get cancelled and it should be 0. Net should be 0. Right? Now let us see. CH3Cl. It is from hydrogen to carbon, hydrogen to carbon, hydrogen to carbon. From different directions, it is getting projected in one direction. And from this, it is towards chlorine, right? So vector sum or this direction of polarity is projected in one particular direction. And when it comes to NF3, nitrogen trifluoride, fluorine is more electronegative. Bond moment is getting dispersed, see, in different directions. It is getting dispersed in different directions. Next, when it comes to boron trifluoride, which is a trigonal planar structure, here symmetric structure it has. Why? Because this bond moment is cancelled by this, which is cancelled by this. Mutually they are getting cancelling with one another. So here dipole moment is 0. And when it comes to ClO2, chlorine is the central atom, obviously double bond O and dative bond O. Double bond O and dative bond O. So here also the bond moment is not getting cancelled. So dipole moment is not 0. So what's the question? The molecule which has 0 dipole moment. Here it is not getting cancelled, non-zero, but here it is 0. So dipole moment will be 0 in symmetric molecules. Which molecules are symmetric? In which vector sum of the bond moments is 0. Okay. So this is one model of question from dipole moment. Now we are going to discuss with another. Right. So this is our next question. Which of the salt shows maximum covalent character? Ionic and covalent character. Again we have to go to Poisson's rules, according to which larger cation or smaller anion or both means more ionic in character. Smaller cation or larger anion or both means more covalent in character. And size of this cation and anion can be justified with respect to the charge. In the previous slide we have studied. More the charge on the cation, smaller is the size. Right? So size of the cation is inverse to its charge. Size of cation is inversely proportional to its size. Smaller the size, so size of the cation is inversely proportional to its charge, not size, charge. So more the charge, smaller is the size. More the charge, smaller is the size. Right. Now with respect to this, we have to answer this question. Which of the salts shows maximum covalent character? Maximum covalent character means small cation. Small cation means among magnesium and aluminium. These two comes across a period. So obviously sodium, magnesium, aluminium is the smaller. So among these two, aluminium is smaller cation. And cesium Cesium comes somewhere here, right? Which is obviously larger. And even lanthanum also we have to compare. Lanthanum we have to compare before this cesium. It comes in this one, lanthanides and actinides. It comes in the periodic table. So among all these metals, the one which is down, which is at the last position of the group from top to bottom, is obviously larger in size. So among these four metals, the smaller cation is Al plus 3. As it is smaller cations, smaller the cation or larger the anion or both, more is the covalent character. So answer is AlCl3. So this is another question from this, right? Yes, this is our next question about hybridization based concept, that is about structures. Which of the following two are isostructural? So these are the options given. We already studied one technique of finding hybridization and structure. See, H stands for sum of lone pairs plus bond pairs. You might have studied this already in last 2 years. H stands for sum of lone pairs plus bond pairs, which can be calculated as V plus M minus C plus A by 2. V plus M minus C plus A by 2. Here V stands for number of valence electrons of the central atom. Okay, number of valence electrons of central atom. In ammonia, nitrogen is central. In BF3, boron is central, like that. M stands for number of monovalent atoms around the central atom. Number of monovalent atoms around the central atom. And C stands for magnitude of charge in a cation. If it is given, if it is a cation given, then only you have to take the magnitude in the place of C. Suppose NH4 plus. What is the magnitude? 1. This is the charge value, this is the magnitude. Only that number you have to take here, not the sign. And A is the magnitude of charge on anion. If it is anion given, suppose IF2 minus is given here. So minus 1, that 1 only we have to take, not the sign. C stands for magnitude of charge on cation. A stands for magnitude of charge on anion. Now we have to substitute the values. Suppose ammonia, boron trifluoride, PCl5, ICl5, XeF2, IF2 minus, CO3 minus 2 and SO3 minus 2. So let us see the structures, and before this we have to go through a chart of hybridization and lone pair bond pairs thing also. See, ammonia, V valence electrons of ammonia are 5 plus surrounded by 3 monovalent atoms, not a cation, not an anion, by 2 it is 4. 4 means sp3 hybridization. And lone pairs can be calculated as H minus atomicity minus 1. Lone pairs can be calculated as H minus atomicity minus 1. What is H value for this? This is what the H value we are finding. H value is 4. Minus what is atomicity? 1 plus 3. 4 minus 1. It has one lone pair. sp3 hybridization with one lone pair. It is pyramidal in structure. Pyramidal in structure. Next, boron trifluoride. Boron valence electrons are 3 plus surrounded by 3 monovalent atoms by 2. It is 3. 3 means sp2 hybridization. sp2 hybridization. Lone pairs can be calculated as H value minus atomicity is 4 minus 1. It is 0. sp2 with 0 lone pairs. It is trigonal planar. Trigonal planar. Next, when it comes to PCl5, phosphorus has 5 valence electrons surrounded by 5 monovalent atoms by 2. It is 5. 5 stands for sp3 dehybridization. The value 5 stands for sp3 dehybridization, and lone pairs can be calculated as H value minus atomicity of PCl5. 5 plus 1, 6. 6 minus 1. It is 0 lone pairs. sp3d with 0 lone pairs is trigonal bipyramidal. Trigonal bipyramidal. And then ICl5, iodine has 7 valence electrons plus surrounded by 5 monovalent atoms by 2. It is 6, for which hybridization is sp3d2 usually. Now for this ICl5, iodine has how many lone pairs? H value is 6 minus atomicity of ICl5 is 6 minus 1. It has one lone pair. sp3d2 usually geometry is octahedral or square bipyramidal. With one lone pair, it will be square pyramidal. square pyramidal or distorted octahedral. Usually the distorted octahedral is possible for smaller central atom, but this is square pyramidal. Okay. Next, XeF2. Xenon has 8 electrons plus surrounded by 2 monovalent atoms. 8 plus 2, 10 by 2 means 5. 5 means sp3 dehybridization, and its lone pairs can be calculated as a H value 5 minus atomicity of XeF2 is 3. 3 minus 1. 5 minus 2. 3 lone pairs it has. See, XeF2 has 3 lone pairs. sp3d with the 3 lone pairs. See, xenon has 3 lone pairs. One behind the board, one front side of the board, one is on the board, 3 lone pairs, and 2 fluorines are on the plane of the board. Now, what is the structure? It is linear. And when it comes to IF2 minus, iodine has 7 valence electrons surrounded by 2 monovalent atoms, 7 plus 2, minus, not a cation but it is anion. See, one charge is given, plus anion charge 1 by 2. It is 10 by 2 means 5, which is always sp3d for 5. And the lone pairs can be calculated as H value is 5 minus, what is atomicity of IF2? 2 plus 1, 3 minus 1. 5 minus 2, again 3. So, sp3d with the 3 lone pairs, the similar structure for IF2 minus also. Similar structure for IF2 minus also. So, it is linear. Then, for CO3 minus 2, carbon has how many valence electrons? 4. No monovalent atoms, not a cation but anion by 2. It is 2. 2 means sp hybridization. There are no lone pairs because all 4 electrons of carbon are utilized. So, 0 lone pairs, linear structure. And SO3 minus 2 sulfur has 6 valence electrons, no monovalent atoms, not a cation but anion by 2. Here, wait. Here it is 2, 4 plus 2 by 2, 3. 3 means sp2 hybridization, right? sp2 hybridization means it is trigonal with 1 lone pair. Lone pair we have to find immediately. Carbonate, there are no lone pairs. There are no lone pairs. So, trigonal planar. Trigonal planar. And when it comes to SO3 minus 2, let us find the lone pairs. This is what 6 plus 2 by 2. 4 means sp3 hybridization. And how do you find lone pairs? H value minus atomicity is 4 minus 1. It is 1 lone pair. sp3 with 1 lone pair is pyramidal in structure. So, this is the way, because by means of thorough practice, we can solve it in less time actually. Now, in which pair structure is coming as same? These two are not. These two are not. So, these two are similar. Again, these two are not. So, in which of the options both the molecules are isostructural? In option C. So, this much of practice you should have, and you should have a good hold on hybridization, lone pair determination, everything. If you have any doubt in these relations, if you didn't study these relations earlier, any one of these, either hybridization determination or lone pair determination, you can text me in the group. I will answer definitely. Right? So, let us see one more question. Right? So, this is our next question. Calculation of number of sigma and pi bonds in the given molecule. See, when a formula is given like this and we are asked to find out number of sigma and pi bonds, how to find? Sir, I will go on drawing the structure. What structure, sir? 8 carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? If you go on drawing such structure, exam will be finished. Right? So, instead, you have to depend on a shortcut. What is that? See, do remember these shortcuts. Number of sigma bonds can be calculated in aliphatic compounds. See, these are the formulas for aliphatic compounds. In aliphatic compounds or open chain compounds, number of sigma bonds can be calculated as atomicity minus 1. Number of sigma bonds can be calculated as atomicity minus 1. And when it comes to number of pi bonds, they can be calculated as 2n plus 2 minus number of hydrogens by 2. 2n plus 2 minus number of hydrogens by 2. These are the formulas using which we can find out number of sigma bonds as well as number of pi bonds in aliphatic compounds. Understood? Now, we'll discuss immediately for this aliphatic compounds, and non-aliphatic compounds means cyclic compounds or aromatic compounds also we have a relation. Alright, this is specified as aliphatic compound. See, it's given as aliphatic molecule. So, number of sigma bonds in C8H14 equals to, what is atomicity? You know the meaning of atomicity, total number of atoms present in one molecule. One molecule has how many atoms? 14 plus 8, 22 minus 1, it has 21 sigma bonds. Obviously, you can draw the structure also. Even after drawing the structure also, you will get the same. Okay, so this molecule has 21 sigma bonds. And when it comes to number of pi bonds, in C8H18, N stands for number of carbons. In this molecule, how many carbons are there? 8. 2 into N, 2 into 8 plus 2 minus, how many hydrogens are there? No, this is 14, no? Minus 14 by 2. So, 16 plus 2, 18. 18 minus 14. How many? 4. 4 by 2. 2 pi bonds. So, nice shortcut. It helps you in saving time for other subjects, right? Even for other questions in chemistry also. So, number of sigma bonds in aliphatic compounds can be calculated as atomicity minus 1. Number of pi bonds can be calculated as 2n plus 2 minus number of hydrogens given in the formula by 2, where n stands for number of carbons. Especially this formula is suitable for these carbon compounds. So, this is how we can answer number of sigma and pi bonds in aliphatic compounds. Now, if the question is about aromatic compounds or cyclic compounds, let us see in the next slide, right? Right. So, this is our next question about calculation of number of sigma and pi bonds in a cyclic compound. You know, benzene is cyclic, and otherwise they may specify that it is a cyclic compound or closed chain compound like that. In such a case, number of sigma bonds can be calculated as atomicity minus 1 plus number of cycles. Atomicity minus 1 plus number of cycles, and the number of pi bonds can be calculated as 2n plus 2 minus number of hydrogens by 2 minus number of cycles. This is a small difference between aliphatic formula and non-aliphatic formula. What's the difference? There only atomicity minus 1, here plus number of cycles. There only 2n plus 2 minus number of hydrogens by 2, here minus number of cycles. Now let us apply this. Benzene has how many cycles? Benzene has only one cycle, right? This is the cycle. Now do remember, in benzene number of sigma bonds equals to, what is benzene formula? C6H6. 12 is the atomicity, minus 1 atomicity minus 1 plus number of cycle is 1. 12 sigma bonds. And number of pi bonds can be calculated as 2 into, benzene has how many carbons? 6 plus 2 minus number of hydrogens. Number of hydrogens in the given formula is 6 by 2 minus number of cycles. 12 plus 2, 14 minus 6, 8, 8 by 2, 4, 4 minus 1, 3 pi bonds. See, as you can compare easily, I had given benzene as an example. You can apply this for any given molecule, any given non-aliphatic molecule. See, 6 sigma bonds are in the cycle, 6 are with hydrogen, 12 sigma bonds and 3 pi bonds. So, this is another shortcut which helps you in saving time. Understood? Now, let us discuss with one more question from chemical bonding. Okay, and one more concept which is very, very important here and time taking for students is molecular orbital theory. Usually, from this molecular orbital theory, the common question is to find out bond order. Okay, I know you people are aware of that formula. Bond order can be calculated as number of bonding minus number of anti-bonding by 2. Yes, I know about that. But still, usually most of the students will write sigma, 1s sigma star, 1s sigma, 2s sigma star, 2s. No, see, this lengthy procedure is not at all preferable. With respect to number of electrons in the formula, you can find out with one simple table. See, number of electrons and bond order, corresponding bond order. See, I had written number of electrons 1 to 18 here. Usually this is given in our syllabus. And the corresponding bond order is half 1, half 0. half 1, half 0. Have you followed? Half 1, half 0, half 1, half 0, 2 times. Half 1, 1.52, 2.53. In nitrogen molecule, electrons are 14, N triple bond N, you are aware of that. Then again, after 3, it decreases from 2.5 to 1.51. See once again, number of electrons continuously up to 18. Half 1, half 0, half 1, half 0, half 1, 1.5 to 2.53. This is the maximum value for 14 electrons into again 2.5 to 1.51. If you remember this, you can easily answer. Okay, for example, N2 power N2 plus 1, N2 minus, N2 plus 2, N2 minus 2. Arrange them in increasing or decreasing bond order. Suppose decreasing bond order sequence of the given species is. Immediately what you have to do, instead of writing that formula for 5 to 6 minutes, you count the number of electrons. 14, this is 1 less 13, this is 1 more than 14, 15, this is 2 less from 14, 12, this is 2 more than 14, 16. So what is the 14th bond order? 3. And it's 1 electron less. 13 electrons bond order is 2.5. And even the next one is also 2.5. And N2 plus 2 is 12. It is bond order is 2. N2 minus 2. 14 plus 2. 16 electrons bond order is also 2. So bond order of N2 is greater than, N2 plus is equal to N2 minus greater than, N2 plus 2 is equal to N2 minus 2. So using this beautiful shortcut, you can answer any lengthy question in less than 1 minute. Okay, this is another shortcut that helps the students in these competitive exams, right?